Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Spotlight on Addiction and Recovery. I'm your host, Scott Jones, and I want to thank you guys for joining us here today. You're watching this, of course, on the ATC Network, on YouTube, or at Addiction Training Center on Facebook. But please remember to like the page and register, subscribe so that you can find out when we have other shows going on, and share it with your friends. Today, we're talking to Tim Roberto, who is you've probably seen him before here. We've done this a few times.
Yeah.
Not as often as I'd like, because we always have a good time when we do it.
Yeah.
But we're here to talk about some really cool stuff that has gone on recently. And first of all, how are you, Tim?
I'm blessed.
You're blessed.
Scott. I'm totally blessed. And I hope the audience feels like that too.
Now, you just celebrated a milestone in your life, right?
Huge.
Can we talk about that?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. April 15th, 2007 was my 15th year anniversary.
15 years of recovery.
15 years continuous.
Continuous sobriety. You're right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm sure you probably had exposure to it years before and then back and forth, right?
100%.
Yeah.
In and out of the program, which for me was AA all my life.
Right.
And
right.
treatment centers.
Yeah. So 15 years continuous recovery. Is Tim the same guy as he was 15 years ago?
Well, I think my heart is still there. I always had a good heart, and but in my addiction, that really what worked to my disadvantage.
Your good heart did not help.
Oh no, not at all.
Yeah,
no, because I got taken advantage a lot of. When you're smoking crack, you're hanging out with people that smoke crack too, and all we ever did was just steal each other's stuff, and then we helped each other look for it. So, but I was always the first victim. I always got nailed first.
Tim, I imagine you probably these days when you meet people and you mention something like smoking crack, they must look at you like you're crazy because you don't fit the thought of, because look at you. I mean, you look very professional. You're very friendly. You're very smart. You're a great guy, and people don't look at you, and they look at you and they say, okay, well, I can see this guy.
Yeah.
This guy probably sat and did crossword puzzles and smoked a pipe, tobacco, regular tobacco, not crack, for crying out loud.
Well, that's the stigma.
Yeah.
And it's something for me I've dealt with my entire life. So it's all boils down to this stigma. I don't know, like what's a crackhead supposed to look like?
I really don't know. I really don't know.
You know what I mean? If you really think about it, like what's a crackhead supposed to look like? It runs from Park Bench to Park Avenue and everything in between.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And it's not. I think that's one of the misconceptions is that you have to be a street person to fall into certain streat drugs.
100%.
I mean, it's like, okay, yeah, if you're a Wall Street guy, you do a line of coke, and if you're this, but you don't smoke crack unless you're on the streets and hustling.
Yeah,
that's not true. I mean, you fall into these things. However you fall into them, it happens.
I know CEOs that were alcoholics or struggled with alcoholism their whole life, and then started drinking mouthwash. I'm thinking, mouthwash, what the heck? Well, as the more I learned about it, because I was tired of saying my whole life, I don't know, Tim, why do you do that? I don't know. And then that just started sounding so lame in my recovery. And then when I started working with more men professionally and personally as a sponsor, I mean, what do you mean you don't know? And then I was thinking one day, I'm like, I can only imagine what would happen to those people's world if they began to know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So when I hear a CEO who struggled with alcoholism his whole life, then he starts drinking mouthwash, I'd be like, but then I wanted to know why, and it's a different buzz.
Well, I suppose if you're going to be trashed, you may as well be minty fresh as well.
Oh man,
may as well be.
The witty Scott comes out. Boom. No, but I've learned about it, and the body just processes it differently than it does distilled alcohol. So if it's processing it differently, it's a different buzz. I'm like, man, this thing that alcoholics deal with, or a guy like me deals with, is really a brain disorder. It truly is. When you start thinking about mouthwash, like how does somebody, my phone is the bottle. Like how does somebody look at that? Like, I wonder if that would be a little different.
It's such a twisted view of the world.
It's unbelievable.
And sometimes now, I'm sure, now me, I've 18 years and 15 years. And, I had time before that, but let's go with our continuous recovery. If you put all the time together, I had 30. But I 12 and then relapse. But anyway, So we understand, the recovery part and stuff, but you ever have those moments where you sit back and you're like, it feels almost so disjointed, like two completely separate lives, what I did then and what I do now. And we've always got to remember, we've always got to pay homage to what we've been through. But sometimes it just feels so different because we are so foreign from what we used to be, right?
Yeah, I look at it now, and my wife is not in recovery, and she always says all the time, especially around my anniversary, like I just can't see you.
She didn't know you then.
No,
Okay.
no, I met her in recovery about 2.5 years later.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to really this time. I really wanted to stay single, and just start working on myself. And you shred, I shredded a lot of people's lives all because I didn't like how I felt. And
So you made it 2.5 years doing that? Excellent.
I made
I made it 2.5 days.
Yeah, then I really, I just knew, now I was more whole than I was, in my
Yeah.
so the heart that I always had, the kindness that I always had, and my happiness that I always had. I hear it all the time today. Why you so happy? Well, because I cried most of my life.
Yeah.
So I'm sober and happy today, and that's what's the gift of sobriety for me anyway. I don't want to be just sober. Based on my history, if I'm just sober, I'm going to drink. I know.
But we do meet those people who are sober for years and still white knuckling every day and not happy.
It's just abstinence, That's
it's like they're missing the point of sobriety. The point of sobriety is not about not drinking and using. It's about living
100%
without drinking and using. It's about living.
Yeah, because it creates a life to where you don't want to use.
Exactly.
So even when I'm in conversation with my wife about it, like I can't believe it either sometimes. Like you were just
exactly.
I can't believe I did what I did. I used to have seizures driving cars because I couldn't stop. Once I started having seizures, getting pulled out of cars.
But we change your whole mindset changes when you build a different life where it's like that doesn't belong in this life. Because it's not a part of it. It just doesn't make sense in this life.
It's the human soul, man. It's the human spirit. You can call it whatever you want. Creative intelligence, like even people who don't struggle with substance abuse or mental health, right? They're always trying to fill their needs with something.
Yeah.
Whether it's through sex, gambling, eating their feelings, playing tennis excessively, running triathlon, I'm not. It's a great practice.
I mean, not everybody is over the top on it.
Correct.
But we do build endorphins and we do build dopamine and we do those things and we do certain things that make us feel good.
Amen.
And then when you start taking it to the extreme limit, it starts to take over other parts of your life. And
but like there is people that can take medications as prescribed.
Yeah, I don't understand those people.
Neither do I. But I tried my whole life to get people to understand me, and then I came to the conclusion, well, how can they understand something they've never experienced?
Yeah.
So I'd never experienced being able to take prescriptions as prescribed.
I'll tell you what, dude,
I don't understand it.
I think what freaked me out the most was sitting in restaurants and watching people order a glass of wine. And that glass of wine would last them the whole meal, and they would leave, and there would still be wine left in the glass. And I'm thinking, don't you know there's alcoholics that are dying in India who need that drink? I mean, come on. We say it with food. There's people in the third world that need food. But to me, it made no sense. How can they possibly do that? And now, to me today, it makes sense. Not that I can drink some and put it down, but just that I don't want it. I don't want it.
They don't have the bug. I if this was a bottle in my hand, I put down in my 33 years of abuse. Excuse me, I put down hundreds of times. I couldn't stay stopped.
Yeah,
because a week later my feet were tapping, and 2 weeks later both my feet were tapping, and then a month later you'd be like, "How you doing, Tim?" I'd be like, "I'm fine." I'm just saying. I have a very serious illness until I think I can internalize that.
Yeah,
so I'm wired to unwire. And if I just put down alcohol, I have no alcohol, the substance, right?
Yeah.
To fix my alcoholism, which lives in me. I'm different. Like I don't shame somebody who has a peanut allergy. And we don't shame people that have bee sting allergies or shellfish allergy. We don't shame them.
That's true.
Because the intellectual mind says, nope, no thanks, I'm not doing that. You got something this.
Yeah.
But for me, I have like this strange mental blank spot, even though I've done it over and over we're expecting a different result. And
Now, Tim, I know there's people out there saying, well, wait a minute, peanut allergies and alcoholism, two different things. You're absolutely right. It's two different things.
correct.
Peanuts, if you have a peanut allergy, you put peanuts in your body's going to react. Bad things are going to happen. You could get very sick.
Yep.
You could possibly die.
Yep.
Alcoholics, you put alcohol in their body, bad things could happen.
Yep.
You could get very sick. You could possibly die.
But
the difference is that somebody with a peanut allergy does not go to Winn-Dixie, stand in the peanut butter aisle and sob. They don't look at and say, well, maybe if I tried the extra crunchy, they don't do that.
Yeah.
They don't mentally masturbate about this stuff.
No.
They don't sit there and cry about it. They say, this is a fact that this doesn't work in my life. Alcoholics don't have that
Incredible.
reasoning because we have the obsession that goes with it.
Oh, I love that.
We have the obsession.
Yep.
So we will be the ones who stand
Yep.
in front of the liquor store crying because we can no longer drink and try to think about, well, if I had bigger ice cubes, if I drank a single malt instead of a blended, if I went to light beer instead of regular beer, we've done all that shit,
Over and over.
I mean, I actually convinced myself that screwdrivers, the only reason I got sick is because I was allergic to orange juice.
Yeah.
I actually could convince myself
I
of
believe that.
Turns
Yeah,
out
it wasn't the
I actually
vodka.
like orange juice now.
It wasn't the vodka.
It wasn't, but that's what
how
we do.
react,
That's how we
right?
react
Our
because it's a
enzymes.
different thing.
Our enzymes
Yeah.
react like somebody who's allergic to bee stings. Like some of those people have EpiPens.
Yeah.
But they don't go and stick their hands in the bee's nest,
Yeah.
Said, all right, Scott, you got me, man. Because when they come out, give me a couple seconds of stings and then whack me with the thing.
Well, there's one kid, and I knew this guy who was allergic to peanuts. And he goes, the funny thing is I love the smell of peanut butter and I love the smell of peanuts. I just can't eat them, And I'm like, okay, well, and it actually changed my thinking because I used to try to convince myself I hate alcohol. I hate it. You know what? I'm going to have a love affair with alcohol till the day I die. I love the way it smells. But you know what? My thinking has changed now because I also love the way gasoline smells. And I've never once tried to drink it. I love the way bleach smells, but I never once tried to drink it. Why? Because I like the way it smells. It just doesn't belong in my body.
Yeah.
And now my thinking is the same with alcohol. I'll always love the way it smells. Why? I'm an alcoholic. I'm attracted to it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't belong in my body. So I'm going to drink alcohol about as fast as I'll drink a gallon of gas.
Yeah.
Because I changed my thinking.
Yeah.
But that takes a lot of time and it takes rebuilding your life so that there's no place for it too.
Yeah, 100%. For me, it was my pain outgrew my fear.
Yeah.
For me,
I like that. I like that.
To where my thinking, like I was willing to change my thinking, because that's the people that struggle with mental health and drug addiction or alcoholism. We have one of the greatest gifts because we have a fatal progressive disease, just like all the poor kids in the children's hospital in Miami have too.
Yeah.
But we can't tell them just change your thinking. We can't do that for them. For us, it's our thinking that keeps putting it in, nothing else. Physically, I'm screwed and Scott's screwed. And if you're listening to this and you're in our boat, you're screwed too. But, our gift, the grace, so to say, is so we can continue to help other people struggling with mental health. And our gift that was given to us that we comprehend today, that we don't have the ability to physically change us, but we do have the ability to change our thinking because it's our thinking that keeps putting it in.
You made a mention of something with the Children's Hospital and stuff. And this is always a touchy subject for people where we call it a disease. Alcoholism and drug addiction is a disease. And the DSM-4, I think it is now a disease or
brain disorder.
I mean, and
if you look at some of the recent stuff,
some of the medical things, it's good that it's labeled as a disease because at least we're getting treatment for it.
Yeah.
But there's people that'll say, well, it's a disease just like cancer. And I know that's a horrible statement because I've known people who have had cancer.
Yeah.
And not one of those people could have changed their thinking and saved their lives.
Amen.
So we understand it's different. It's got, while it's in you and operating within you, it changes your physiological body. It adds a toxin to your body, almost like a virus. It adds all these things to our bodies for all the earmarks of a disease. It's just that when it comes time to what to do about the disease, that's where it departs from everything else. And it becomes a matter of thinking, a matter of, and it's not just like, my own thoughts, but new thinking and new ideas. And, some people will say you have to have the spiritual component, whatever. The bottom line is that if you have the willingness, you can save yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult for people. Like I said, 5 minutes ago, it's really difficult for people to understand something they've never experienced.
Yeah.
If unfortunately, if you've experienced watching somebody whittle away in their bed,
Yeah.
it's really difficult. I had to do that with my mother for 10 days, in hospice.
Yeah.
It was tough, man, compared to seeing a guy in the driveway passed out.
Yeah.
It's like, why do you keep doing, like, it really pisses a lot of people off,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I think we can agree on the disease, but we should not make those comparisons to those other things.
no, no,
It really is not. It doesn't do its service.
correct.
Alcoholism and drug addiction are so completely. They are more aligned with mental health disorders,
Yeah.
but they have the physiological change that happens with the disease. So it's really kind of a combination of mental health and disease.
100% bookended all the way.
Absolutely.
You got it's a bug. You just have this bug, and when I wasn't using, I couldn't stand how I felt. I'm 11 years old.
Yeah.
So uncomfortable already. So uncomfortable. It was unbelievable. And I always just wanted to be accepted. I'm no different than any other human being. We all want to be connected. We all want to, have somebody love us or hang out with, or you know what I mean? And I couldn't get that. And then, but of course I found the people that were getting it through other means. And as soon as I did it, because I couldn't say no, I wanted to be part of the crew. It was the first time in my life, even at 11 years old, all the eggshells, when I smoked some weed, all my eggshells went poof.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God. Like,
this is what I've been waiting
like
for.
the heavens opened up,
Yeah.
it was unbelievable.
Absolutely. It's hard to explain how that works. And people are like, how come you didn't see what you were doing? And it's like, well, listen, a crazy person doesn't know they're crazy. When they're acting, when somebody with a mental health disorder is out and they're in a schizophrenic break, or they're in something like that, they're not saying, oh, I'm having a break.
Yeah.
They're out there, whatever they see, the dragons and the monsters they're seeing in the streets are real.
Oh yeah.
And that's where we really align with mental health disorder, because we don't see what we're doing as killing us or destroying us.
Yeah.
We see it as, this is our life. This is our oxygen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, like the literature, of Alcoholics Anonymous, right? Cunning, powerful, and baffling.
Yeah.
It's, for me, it's the only illness I know of, unless somebody else can turn me on to another one, that tells me I don't have one.
Yeah.
Like, it's unbelievable. There's nothing, like Vegas has nothing on it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Alcohol
Right.
is like the greatest illusion. It's like the ultimate pimp. It's like
It
the ultimate.
it really is.
It's just incredible. And to sit here, telling you my sobriety date is just, it's incredible. Like, it's just incredible.
Well, listen, congratulations on 15 years.
Thanks.
I know your life has never been better.
It's unbelievable.
You walk in grace and gratitude every day. I know that.
Yeah.
How does that feel? I think there's, I don't even know if there's a way to explain, us explaining our lowest points it's hard to do for people because most people wouldn't understand. But you know what? It's also hard to explain how living in gratitude feels too, isn't it?
I think for me, living in gratitude is more of an action kind of state of mind, like people, like it's kind of like game recognizes game and real recognizes real.
Yeah.
And, I've had a lot of people ask me over the years, like, what happened to you? I'm like, well, what do you mean by what happened to me? They're like, you're always so happy. I'm like, you got 5 minutes? Because I think it's an awesome opportunity to let people know that I cried most of my life.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't crying, I was a phony. If I wasn't a phony, I was suffering in silence. And that only takes 5 minutes because they're human beings. Like, we all have that thing. Like, you can always touch somebody else. I don't know how to explain that. I mean, how do you explain that? It's way beyond knowledge.
It is hard to explain. And it's not something that's hidden in a church basement with a group of people smoking cigarettes. Well, you can't smoke cigarettes in church basements anymore. Used to.
Yeah.
But it's not hiding in a church basement doing the 12 steps and keeping it a secret society with secret handshakes. You're out living it. You're out living it and being proud of it.
Yeah.
And, if anybody ever asks you, you'll tell anybody whatever they want to know.
100%. There's nothing to hide because I'm not practicing that anymore, hiding, protecting, and all that. I'm not practicing that anymore. So if if I'm not practicing something, it doesn't manifest. If I keep putting gas in the car, it keeps going. If I stop putting gas in the car, it stops going. Like,
and by sharing our stories, people, if something happens, they can say, wait a minute, maybe Tim can help me with this. And that's what we want. We want to be of service to everybody.
I've sponsored so many guys in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the coolest human experiences ever, is for a little boy who's going through something right now, which a lot of little boys do go through. 1 out of 6 boys are sexually abused. You can look that up if you like, and 1 out of 3 girls are. And there's a lot of dysfunction and a lot of turmoil and alcoholism and drug addiction and mental health in a lot of families. And if they're not suffering with that, they're suffering with slash dysfunction.
Yeah.
And these boys and these little girls, they grow up 11 years old like me, not liking how they feel, and they start doing other things, and they have the bug. And whatever amount of time later, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, their life is so unmanageable. Thank God for AA. Thank God for people like Scott, for you, people like you, and for me. I've been given a tremendous gift to introduce people to ways out of this. I've had so many kids that have come up to me at 19 years old, and I'm talking like, I'm already 10 plus years. So when I came in, they're 9 years old, starting to go through that muck. And they come up to you, and the walk.
Yep. Yep.
And they're like, I've been alone my whole life, and you made me feel like I wasn't alone, or something to that effect. You know what I love, by getting to my point, what I love about that? That's why I keep showing up. I just haven't met them yet.
Right.
You follow me?
Yeah.
So if I stay sober, you could roll me in at 90 years old into this place, as long as I still have my cognitive.
Right.
Loneliness is loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
Resentments are resentments. Lack of self-worth is lack of self-worth. It has nothing to do with a number or age. And a 20-year-old kid can identify with that.
That is awesome.
Dude, and that's like the gift. The sobriety is just a phenomenal gift. And you don't have to be struggling with anything. Even if you have your loved one and somebody talks to you like me or Scott, you can give people hope, because hope is instilled in all of us. It's part of our coding.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way it is, like it's our mind that keeps score of everything all day long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the human spirit doesn't care about that. It just wants to know what our command is for today almost. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like it just doesn't. It's our mind that keeps us in yesterday or future tripping about tomorrow.
Absolutely.
It's unbelievable.
Incredible. I got to say, your 15th anniversary, most people would like some cake. Most people would like, let's go to Denny's. Let's go hang out, or let's go to the beach. You wanted to walk 20 miles, but you decided to do it for a cause.
Correct.
And I thought you were crazy at first. I was going to support you because of the cause. One brother, one sister is Karen and my our nonprofit. But
and I
thought you were crazy.
Most people did.
Why 20 miles? What was the challenge in that?
Well, the challenge was, I wanted to kind of give homage. I wanted to pay respect to God.
Okay.
For this amazing, it's like I said, I started at 11. I was homeless in Deerfield Beach at 44, wondering what happened to my life.
So you were walking on your 20-mile hike. You were walking past your homeless haunts.
Oh yeah, that was insane.
That must have been surreal.
Very deep, man. Because you guys called me up. We had a celebration dinner after this. Well, they called me up. I wasn't even expecting that wasn't even on my mind. Like I was going to talk. I really didn't know what to say, because it started out as just, I want to have, like I had all these little moments.
Mm-hmm.
When you're not thinking, it's amazing how all this self-governing universe, it's so orderly. If you just let it be and let it do what it does best. And I thought, okay, I looked at my phone because I wanted to pay this homage. I wanted to have this conversation with God. And I looked at, and then next thing I know, I'm looking up from Boynton, because I live in Boynton Beach to Deerfield, almost 20 miles. And I'm thinking, all right, what's going on here? And then I okay, I'm going to commit. I'm going to have 7 hours to talk with God, and I'm going to bring it back to Deerfield. And then one day I heard, that's great, Tim. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate you making that commitment to thank me. But you're going to have 7-8 hours to bring attention to mental health, drug addiction, suicide, alcoholism, and the first responders. They're taking care of everybody else, but who's taking care of them?
Exactly.
They took care of me a lot, man, when I was out there, a lot. And a lot of these guys are suffering in silence. As a former Marine, I know that kind of end of it too, as far as the suffering in silence, because how you doing? Good, everything's fine, but inside you're crumbling. So it just started morphing, manifesting, and next thing I know, I'm paying for the the hall. We had an incredible dinner by
Oh,
this wonderful friend of mine. She's just an amazing woman, and she wanted, just wanted to pay it forward. And
I don't know how many people we had at the dinner.
I would say what, 45?
I'd say
50?
around 50, maybe even 60.
Amazing.
How many people were walking the 20 miles?
Well, that took me by surprise too, though. There was a lot of hardcore people out there because the only guy I had to get across was me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but these people that showed up, man, I was like, oh my gosh. I think sometimes we had about 20 people.
Right. And then you had the fire department going along, riding along with water and taking care of you.
We had a van for if anybody wanted to pop into the AC for a while because it was hot that day. We had police escort all the way, start to finish through Del Rey, and then Deerfield Beach picked us up. And oh my gosh!
And at the end of the day, we raised several $1,000s.
Yeah, we did very well.
Several $1,000s, which will be used to again give first responders, especially firefighters, right now, the training and the information they need to deal with trauma, addiction, and mental health issues in their department.
Yeah, it was just, the call to it was just amazing. People that came out of the woodworks, people that supported. It was almost 6,000.
Yeah.
No wonder I had nothing to say that night. You guys, it was already said. Like,
it was amazing.
It was already said. And so
it was absolutely amazing. And it was hats off to you for doing something like that, stepping outside of yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
Could you imagine 15 years ago walking to raise money for someone else?
No, only if there was that surprise at the end. I would have walked 100%.
Right.
Would have walked,
But, and now, did your wife think you were crazy for doing it?
I
got to ask.
At first she did.
Okay.
But when I had to start training, even though I run a couple miles twice a week, walking's a whole different ball game, especially when you start getting up to those 8, 9, 10 mile ranges. It's taking you hours. So I started training in the beginning of February. She didn't really come along, but then after a few weeks of every Saturday, getting up at 7 o'clock, preparing, having the meals, stretching, starting to put Band-Aids on your toes. And then the next Amazon package shows up as another bracelet, another brace. I'll be 60 in August, you know what I mean? She's like, wow, he's really committed. And then she's a great runner. She still has her knees and all that,
Yeah, and lovely woman. She's very nice.
Yeah, awesome. And she started going with me, and next thing you know, she runs a couple miles with me. Of course, blows me away, but we still kind of do it together. But next thing I know, she's running 7 miles. I'm like, hon, when's the last time you've run 7 miles? She's like, wow, this is really inspiring. So
I do know the people who walked the majority of the walk.
Yeah, it was
because they were all wearing flip-flops and sandals the night of the dinner because none of them could get shoes on their feet. You were one of them.
I had to go to a conference the following day. I went up to Atlanta.
Oh, were your feet still swollen?
Oh my gosh. So I couldn't. So I wore my flip-flop slides, in the car up to Atlanta. And then the next morning, Monday, I put my dress shoes on. I got my dress shirt, my slacks on, going down to the floor to represent my company. And I put my feet in. I took one step, and I went, oh my God,
this is gonna be a long day.
No, I turned around, sat in the bed, took them off, put my slides on.
Oh, you just walked around in your slides?
I wear like colored socks, patterns, so that helped a lot. But there was a lot of people noticing, and I just started saying to myself, "You're jealous, aren't you? You're jealous because you got to wear those dress shoes."
Great conversation starter.
And oh my gosh,
right?
The conversations that started, like, I got to ask you. You're the only guy with slides on. I'm like, well, thanks for asking. This is what I did. My feet are torn up. I had all kinds of oh my God, this was crazy. But it is what, we banged it out.
Just like recovery, just like the whole journey you've been on, worth doing though, right?
100%. We're doing it next year. So this is, what a great lead in. I mean, I've been talking about it with a couple of people, but now I got the mic.
Yeah.
Please, this next April, the month of April, I don't know when the 15th is, but whatever that most convenient day, Friday, Saturday is, we'll be doing it. But you know what? I'm going to make a little adjustment.
10.
I'm going to do a 5K.
5K better, because that way more people can be involved in it.
100.
Because there's so many people that wanted to do it, and they're like, the minute they hear 20, You know,
I'm
it's
out.
like your butt cheeks just clench right up, and you're just hell no. It's just it ain't
Oh,
happening.
my God.
But 5K, everybody's like, oh yeah, 5K, because you get some people who can run it, and well, you know what? You want to say run it, walk it, bike it, whatever you want.
Whatever you want. And we're going to make it like, I'm already thinking like, okay, if we're going to include all that kind of stuff, then maybe we get a park or a section of a
I would
park.
love to do it in the park because we can end it in the park. We'll have the music, we'll have the cookouts with the burgers and the dogs.
Yeah.
It sounds good.
Maybe get some firefighters, first responder, educational things like what they do, how they get people out of a call.
You heard it right here. Stomping
Yep.
Out the Stigma 2 is coming.
Amen.
Next year.
100%.
And and the involvement we had with the limited exposure we had was wonderful. Imagine next year it's going to be even bigger. It's going to be big. I love the park thing. Let's do that. Let's definitely get a gazebo
and all the people that walked with me. There was a couple of people like real dedicated, hardcore runners, walkers. A couple of women came up from Fort Lauderdale. They caught wind of it, but the majority, like you said, the majority of them were firefighters.
Yeah.
Doing it for the cause, doing it for their brothers, doing it for their sisters, and just doing it for what they see on a regular basis.
How incredible.
It was phenomenal, man. Like, oh God. It was deep, man.
You started something good. You started something good, my friend.
Yep.
And the partnership between you and Stomp Out the Stigma and One Brother, One Sister, we can really do some really great things together. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Before we go, I just want to, mention 15 years. Your life is about helping people. Your job is about helping people. You're working at a great place. I say it different every time I say it. So I'm going to say this time I'm going to go with Mandala. Sometimes I'll say Mandala. Mandalay. No, Mandala. What do you like to say?
It's awkward for me to say, but it's the proper way. Mandala. I want to say mandala.
Oh, that's like a third one I didn't even have.
I want to say like gondola, mandala.
So it's not mandala, mandala. Mandala.
I like to say mandala, but it's mandala.
I don't even know what I said at the beginning now. Tell you what, look up any of those spellings. You're going to end up with a great place. Tim, you've been there for quite a while now. And working with the team we were talking about, Alexis and Tim, and just all the great people there. And they went through. There was a bad patch when Mandala was first around, and then new people came in and says, "That's it, we're making this right," and it's been great ever since. You guys are really just helping everybody you can, right?
Oh my God, yeah! It was made right by two right people.
Yeah,
that just two right people. Our CEO, she's a wonderful leader. She's incredible, and
she's one of those people who gets it done. That's the big thing. If she says it happens, right?
100%. There's no second. She's solution oriented. You know what I mean? Because the population that we're dealing with don't know how to get into the solution. They're all in the problem still.
Well, I love the fact that you look at these gaps and you say nobody's treating these people. How can we do it? So you're picking up either insurances or different programs that other people aren't touching.
Won't even go close.
They won't go close to it, and you're like, but these people still need help.
100%.
100%. That's important. Is that a sense of pride for you?
Oh, it's incredible to see people. Our alumni. We have people that work there that came through there. And they're not just one or two. There's a lot of people that have come through there with nothing through some of these programs. And thank God for some of these programs. I'm telling you, this is money well spent. Very well spent.
Absolutely.
And they're working and they're showing other people that have nothing how to get a little something, and it's amazing process. Like I said, I keep seeing it grow and grow and grow and grow.
Even to the point where we have meetings for our Florida Addiction Treatment Coalition and Mandala, jeez, the M place. They just say, hey, use our facility for your meetings, no charge. Just come and do it.
Just come and do it.
And it's like that kind of commitment to the community as well. A commitment to being better, to doing better.
And that's part of my responsibility too. Part of my responsibility is to get out there and let our community know that Mandala supports our community. I do other things too, but I'm also supporting our community. It's very important. We need to support each other, especially, drugs kill drug addicts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Alcohol kills alcoholics. And if it's not doing that, it's shredding family support. And if it's not doing that, it's costing the communities millions, if not billions. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely. And there, there's less now than there was before. There are still some bad treatment ideas out there. There's still some shady characters that are operating. And guess what? It's not just in Florida anymore. We're seeing it pop up in Austin. We're seeing it in California. We're seeing it in other places.
Greed.
It's greed. And, and I know insurance companies, they're not the easiest thing in the world to work with. They make it hard, but you know what? You do it the hard way. Do whatever you got to do to save people. Don't take the shortcuts, which ultimately hurt people. You guys don't put up with any of that nonsense. Like you're about the client, right?
We're all about the client. We don't do any of that stuff. We even have a do not return list. We don't cycle people in and out and just keep
because it doesn't make sense to do that.
We have a do not return list. If we can't provide for you second, third time, then I don't. You're gonna have to find something else. A lot of
you'll find them something else. I mean, nobody calls and they say, "Well, we can't help you," and you hang up.
Oh no,
you guys got a long list of places. Like, if we can't help you, we'll find somebody who can. Right?
Alexis and Tim, by their direction, we've become a very, very heavy hitter, sort of say, in our community, and we have a tremendous amount of resources, and we use those resources because we have to. We're a 140 bed facility, and we're running at about 87%. This past month we were at 87%. So we need relationships. We need, we need working relationships. So we generate a lot. So we just, we have a lot of resources, and we also take Medicaid too.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's like, who else is going to do that when they have a facility like yours? It doesn't make sense for some places. And some places, the truth is, some of the smaller places can't afford to take Medicaid.
Correct.
Because there's not enough money to survive.
Correct.
So it's almost a responsibility you guys have, being a little bit larger, that you should carry some of that. And I'm glad you do.
100%. We even got our we're licensed for everything from mental health all the way down to OP, which is outpatient.
Yeah.
The ones we do use is our mental health license, our ACA license, and of course our DCF. Substance abuse license, and
you have the detox, the residential, all right there. It's all
right there, all in the same campus. 5 different buildings. One of them we let the community use, and it's procured on 8 acres. And
beautiful place.
It really is. It's an amazing place. I love doing what I do. Like, we're the face. We're the face of recovery, and people know when it's real. Like, you just know, like, game recognizes game, and real recognizes real. And I get I still facilitate groups there. When I kind of went up the ladder a little bit in my position, I also said, look, I really don't want to give up my groups because those are my people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean because I do this. And we've got Addiction Training Center, we've got the podcast studios, and we got the nonprofit, and that's enough to keep me busy 24/7, 7 days a week. Karen as well, the two of us. But I still take my Friday mornings and go teach and do groups at a treatment center because it's important. It keeps us connected to that early recovery, which is like, it's probably a little selfish that we do it because I just want to be part of the miracle. Right.
I don't blame you though. I mean, it's just our duty, right? I'm a total 12-step guy.
Yeah.
Total. And my 12-step tells me, that I have to carry this message, and I don't know any other way to carry a message than in a group other than working with a sponsee or sharing my story. But working in groups is just a phenomenal process. And there's a lot of things that get accomplished in groups.
It's a nice challenge to engage the unengageable every once in a while when you have some people that they got their arms crossed and they're sitting there like, I'm not, and then you reach them and you're like, wow. Right.
Yeah. I've had guys over the years like break down. I've had guys talk about their sexual abuse and then trying to stop, and then you encourage them to keep going. I'm like, I'm 57 years old. I can't believe that just came out. Well, why can't you believe that just came out? It's been really hurting you your whole life. We're not designed to hurt.
Right.
We're just not. And if we are hurting, we need skills and we need tools on how to move through it and process. And
one of the greatest sounds that can come to my ears is early recovery laughter.
Oh, I love it.
Not that sick Joker laughter that they used to have. Like I got over on the guy.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about that real genuine, from the gut. I'm losing. I'm going to pee my pants laughter that,
Yeah.
that you can find sometimes.
Yeah.
And when you see somebody do that, it's like, wow, you can't hide who you are when that happens. It's like, there you are.
I'm so glad you brought that up because before in a lot of cases, right? Because we're feeling better. When I come in to facilitate a group, I'll just hang out, start talking to the guy next to me because I really want that laughter and that communication. And then I come in, I lead in. Okay, let's get going, everybody. Did anybody happen to notice anything that was going on for the last 5-10 minutes?
Yeah.
And they're all like, did you hear everybody laughing? And this is detox. 3 days ago, you had your head in between your knees crying again.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, man,
It's a beautiful thing.
it really is.
Beautiful
Blessed.
thing. Tim, we're blessed to have you at ATC and with One Brother, One Sister, and just as friends.
Yeah.
And to see you at Fat C meetings, to see you up at Mandala. I'm just kidding. Alexa's going to get so mad. I'm not Mandala. I'm going with that because that's what people are going to think about it. What is a phone number they can call at Mandala? Do you have that on top of your head?
Oh, it's if I don't store it these days.
Okay.
So mine is that
Give him your number.
561-876-8637.
Give Tim a call if you've got any questions about recovery, about getting treatment, just any questions.
Anything.
We're here to answer those questions. Help with your homework and math, probably not. But beyond that, we're good on everywhere else.
Yeah, I think so.
I can't do the new math.
Yeah,
I can't do
no.
I'm no good. But Tim, we look forward to stomping out the stigma too next year.
Yeah.
Look forward to just a great year of hanging out this year. We'll have to do more of these podcasts, brother, and just keep people informed of what's going on.
Yeah.
Any good plans for the summer coming up? You got
I love Georgia. I love the Georgia mountains.
nice.
And I thought we'll probably go up there a couple times during the summer. And there's just something about it. I've always been a mountain kind of guy. I just feel safe. I feel safe in the
From the streets of Delray
to
to the mountains in Georgia.
My gosh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a 15-year journey that it's not over yet. It's not over yet.
No, I don't want
Imagine where it's going to be in another 15, brother.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
It's
Amazing.
You're amazing, my friend.
So are you, Scott.
I appreciate you. We all appreciate people like Tim in our communities. It's Tim Roberto. Check him out at Mandala Treatment Center. That's in West Palm Beach. And certainly the information, I'll put it up on the screen for the airtime on the show. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Once again, my name is Scott Jones. You're watching Spotlight on Addiction and Recovery. Make sure that you share this with your friends, like the program, and subscribe so that you can get alerts whenever we have new shows coming up. We'll catch you next time. Everybody out there, stay safe. Take care of each other.